What is up, everybody, and welcome to another video here on the PGHChrisTV show. I am your host, PGHChrisTV. Here, I'm going to break down the college football playoffs, the NCAA College Football Playoffs. Yes, a lot of controversy. A lot of controversy. A lot of people are talking multiple different things. I want to break that for you guys here today. Notre Dame missing the playoffs, G5 schools entering the playoffs, conference championships, do they mean anything? Do they not? I'm going to get into some of those things here because I feel like it's important and I have my thoughts as well. Obviously, Ohio State, getting the first round bye and all that stuff. So I'm going to get into that much more here in this video. But first off, before we get into it, thank you so much for all the support on here, Sports Jedi Network, anywhere you listen. I appreciate it. Links will be in the description for everything. Make sure to go follow me on X, Instagram, Twitch, here on YouTube at PGHChrisTV. Make sure to go follow everything Sports Jedi Network, all on X, Twitter, Instagram. Everything will be in the description down below. If you want to send a donation via PayPal, the QR code is on the screen as well as in the description as well to buy me a coffee. Thank you all for all the support. And this video and this channel is sponsored by DUBBY Energy. DUBBY Energy, be better and join the DUBBY movement. Use code PGHChris to save 10% off. Enjoy this ad and then we'll get right into the video. Here's from our sponsor, DUBBY Energy. All right, everybody, make sure to use code PGHChris at checkout for 10% off your order for DUBBY. Join the DUBBY movement and be better. And a quick thank you to all of our partners and sponsors of the PGHChrisTV show. Now, let's get back to our program. All right, everybody, I have the bracket up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And we can kind of fantasy book here a little bit, as we like to say in the pro wrestling world. But I have the bracket here. I'm on the college football playoff website, so we get to see a bracket here, a little a little something. But this is the bracket. This is the playoffs this year. Um the first round, I believe, is December 19th. It will be Alabama taking the number 9 Alabama taking on the number 8 Oklahoma in a SEC battle. But before I get into any of the controversial subjects that everybody's been talking about, let's talk about the Ohio State University. Yes, we had a big loss against Indiana in the Big Ten championship, but I'm not that mad about it because I believe if people think conference championships mean anything, and I don't mean to get into that right away because that is something I'm going to talk heavily about in this video, but I mean we just moved down one spot. And then I'll be honest, when I watched the reveal show, now the reveal show was Sunday at 12, Sunday at noon, right before the NFL games, right after Sunday countdown on ESPN. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, the AP polls, they also don't mean shit. And we got to have this conversation about that too. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're going to be number 3. I don't give a fuck about what AP polls think. I'm talking about what I personally, this is just me. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Ohio State loses to Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC. They're probably going to get the number 2 spot because they're Georgia, 2 they won their conference, and 3 they're in the SEC. So I was thinking Indiana number 1, Georgia number 2, Ohio State number 3, and Texas Tech number 4. But that's essentially what it is. Now, what do I want to bring up first? Do I want to bring up Notre Dame? Do I want to bring up conference championships? Do I want to bring up G5 schools? I'm going to start off with this. Conference championships. I don't think they mean anything at this point. I'll say it again. I don't think they mean anything at this point. Look, we are led to believe by this fucking committee, whoever they are, whoever they're led by, which last time I checked, it was the fucking athletic director from Michigan. I don't understand why they stress and they tell us, hey, all Power Four conferences, every champion from that conference will guarantee you a first round bye, and that's the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC. Those are the four power conferences. Those are the four conferences that they're claiming that if you win, that you get a first round bye. Now this just proves that conference, in my opinion, that conference championships don't mean shit. How is it that, look, I understand the ACC championship game this year was fucking horrible. It was Duke and Virginia, and Duke ended up winning. I understand that. But don't sit here and say that all Power 4 schools are going to get a first round bye. You should at least, all power conferences should make the playoffs. I'm not talking about, Sun Belt like with JMU. I'm not talking about all these other schools. If you wanted to put, somebody else, look, in the playoffs, I think you get rid of JMU and you put in fucking Duke. And this might sound crazy, but I mean, they're the ACC champions. I hate to say it, and it's stupid considering how bad their record is overall, but I mean, if you really want to emphasize and really have us think that these conference championships mean anything, don't give them the first round bye. Just guarantee them a playoff spot. Because I understand you're not going to fucking rank Duke higher than Ohio State, because essentially they're the only team in the top four right here that get the first round bye that didn't win their conference. We didn't win our conference. I understand that. That's why you don't give them the first round bye. You guarantee them a playoff spot. I think Duke should be in the playoffs. I might be the only person in fucking America that thinks that, but I think that way because they're in the ACC. Okay, they're in my opinion, the third best conference in college football. Yes, I think they're better than the Big 12. And it doesn't feel anything. It just doesn't feel like that meant anything to Duke. Obviously, it means a lot to Duke, but it doesn't mean anything overall in the grand scheme of things because they're not in the fucking national championship tournament. So it's a hard. It's hard. This isn't college basketball. I get it, but stop emphasizing to us that conference championships mean something when not all the winners are guaranteed a playoff spot, and it clearly shows this year. And I guess next year's going to be different, right? If this was next year, Duke would be in the playoffs. So that should happen this year. That should have been already a thing. Now, Notre Dame not getting in the playoffs. It's simple. It's so fucking simple. You see this team right here, the number 10 Miami Hurricanes? You lost in game 1 of the season. Imagine if Ohio State loses to Texas in that first game. I don't want to hear shit. It was the first game of the season. This isn't the same Notre Dame. Because Texas lost to Ohio State. They're not the same Texas that played Ohio State, and yet it caused them a fucking playoff spot. It's that simple. I don't think Notre Dame should be in the playoffs. I think they need to stop being fucking butthurt and join a fucking conference because, A, this independent shit is the reason why they're not in the college football playoffs. If they were to be in the ACC like they are in every single sport, college basketball, baseball, hockey, everything, all the AC except football, they're independent because, they think, they're the main attraction in college sports. They think they're big shit. They want to keep all the money for themselves. After the ACC in 2020 gave Northern Dame a season. If it wasn't for the ACC and hell, they went to the fucking conference championship that year. I don't understand why they don't join the conference. If they join the conference, they probably play Miami in the ACC championship and they had the chance to win it there. Boom, you're in the fucking tournament. It is that simple. And I don't know why there's controversy. I don't know why there's conversation about it. Everywhere that I see, it's Northern Dame this, Northern Dame that. They should be in the playoffs. It's if Jason Whitlock, that fat fuck, is the stupidest person in the world making this about race. Like, it's so fucking stupid because at the end of the day, you lost to Miami and you're not in a conference, and that's why you're not in the playoffs. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. I don't really understand the controversy between that. Join a conference, don't lose to a big school like Miami week 1, and you be in the championship. But no. And I don't want to hear this that people will come at their Notre Dame, blah blah blah. Motherfucker, they're last year's college football national champion runner-ups. All right. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So those are the two things I wanted to get into before I actually want to talk about it. Let's make our predictions. Let's make our predictions again. Before we make our predictions, this channel and this video is sponsored by DUBBY Energy, the official sponsor of the PGH Chris TV show. And let's hear again from our sponsor. All right, everybody, make sure to use code PGHChris at checkout for 10% off your order for DUBBY. Join the DUBBY movement and be better. And a quick thank you to all of our partners and sponsors of the PGH Chris TV show. Now, let's get back to our program. All right, guys, we're going to get a little bit in the tournament here. My apologies. We're going to get a little bit in the tournament here with our predictions, our breakdowns first. I just want to say, go subscribe to the Sports Jedi Network, Heel of the Ring podcast. Me, Kev, the founder. We got big things coming in 2026 here for the pro wrestling side. Football season's coming to an end. College is coming to an end. So go check it out. Go check us out, man. We're growing, and we're gonna do some big things. So back to football, and let's get into it. These playoffs, we're here, baby. Let's go. I'm gonna start with game 1. December 19th is an SEC showdown between Alabama, number 9, and Oklahoma at number 8. Winner plays Indiana in the Rose Bowl, the number 1 team. This is going to be a good fucking game, man. It's going to be a good game. Alabama has not looked strong to end their season. There's a lot of controversy, and a lot of people think they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. But I do think they shock people. I do think Ty Simpson shocks people. And I think they beat Oklahoma in the first round and they get to Indiana. So I'm going to say Indiana or Alabama beats Oklahoma and they go on to face Indiana in the Rose Bowl. JMU versus Oregon, I have Oregon. Tulane versus Ole Miss, I have Ole Miss. Alabama versus, Miami versus A&M. Now that's obviously, I think, going to be the best first game. I mean, you could obviously argue with Alabama and Oklahoma, but I do think Miami and A&M is going to be a more competitive game. I'm curious to see how Carson Beck does against, a pretty good A&M defense. They could have went to the SEC championship. It's going to be a good game. I think I'm look, this is going to be a hard one. I like A&M because of that defense, but Miami, they're good when the pressure's on. But I'm going to give A&M the advantage. I got Texas A&M beating Miami to go on to face Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. So the next round, according to my predictions, it would be Oregon versus Texas Tech. Now, this is going to be a game right here that it's going to be talk about the definition of very, very good offenses versus very, very good defenses. Obviously, you have Jacob Rodriguez, one of the best linebackers in the country, who should have been in the Heisman over Diego, in my opinion. Vandy's another team that should be in the playoffs over Notre Dame anyway, but that's another conversation for a different day. That's going to be a really good battle. I'm going to give Texas Tech the advantage. I think that defense is so fucking good, and I could see them going very, very far into this tournament. I got Texas Tech beating Oregon, which puts them in the semifinals, going to the Peach Bowl. And then I would have Alabama versus Indiana in the Rose Bowl, and I would have Indiana beat Alabama. So I think it's going to be Indiana and Texas Tech in the Peach Bowl in the semifinals. Down here, I had Ole Miss advancing into the All-State Sugar Bowl, and then I had and then it'd be interesting to see who I have win. There's a lot of obviously outside distractions with Ole Miss, obviously Lane Kiffin not being there, all that stuff. So I think they, they want to make a playoff run, but you know, I do think that Georgia team, man, they're good. They're good, and I do think if there's a game in this quarterfinals that's going to be a blowout, like it was like the game last year between Oregon and Ohio State, that's what's going to be with Ole Miss and Alabama, or excuse me, Georgia. I think Georgia beats Ole Miss, moves on, and then Ohio State A&M. I promise I'm not being biased because I am a big, big Ohio State fan, but they're winning the fucking national championship. At the end of the day, I'm giving you my bracket predictions. A&M versus Ohio State. Ohio State beats A&M, and then it's let's just go right here. Georgia versus Ohio State. I have Ohio State. I think that Ohio State defense is the best in the country. I think with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, I do think they will show up more than they did against Michigan and Indiana in the Big Ten championship. And I think that run game is going to improve. I think, we had a really, really bad run game against Indiana. I think that was just one day. We're gonna be good throughout the playoffs. I have Ohio State beating Georgia, puts them in the national championship. Texas Tech versus Indiana. Talk about again another big game with a really really good offense going against a really really good defense. I think that could be the best game in the entire fucking tournament if that game happens. Um, but I want to give the edge to Texas Tech because of that defense, but I'm going to I can see where Fernando Mendoza finds a way, wins his way in that in the last quarter there, last second field goals, last second touchdown, something like that. Hell, maybe an OT, or a situation last year with Ohio State in Texas. But that's going to be a very close game. But I will give Indiana the edge, and I think the championship is going to be a rematch between the Big Ten championship. I think it's going to be Ohio State and Indiana. And I think Ohio State gets the revenge, goes back to back, wins the national championship. Um, and it's going to be it should be a good tournament. Should be a good, series of games. Even if what I say is wrong, I do think, what we have here. I know obviously you could argue with 11 and 12, but what we have, the matchups, I think they should be good. I think they should be good games. Especially that the quarterfinals, leading into to New Year's, bowl seasons around the corner. But as I'm recording this, breaking news breaks out. Sharon Moore has been fired. Michigan head coach Sharon Moore has been fired. Is this real? Oh my God. Wait, oh my God, Sharon Moore has been fired, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan head coach Sharon Moore has been fired. Um, I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know what could possibly maybe be the reason. I'm on Twitter right now. I mean, I'll pull up this. I got an alert here on my phone. That's what that, if you guys heard that buzz earlier, I guess that's what that was. And I saw it right here. But I know Schefter doesn't report. And oh my God. Oh shit. Wow. The UMM has been terminated with calls following an investigation. Incredible evidence engaged in inappropriate. Okay. Okay. That has nothing to do with football. So I am not going to speak about that. But yeah, that is crazy. Wow. Jerome Moore has been fired. Guess it had nothing to do with Ohio State beating them. So I'm not going to speak about it. But that's something I just found out here. So interesting. Interesting. I'm not going to clown you, Michigan fans, today. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Um, Talking here a little bit about the college football um, committee announcing their final rankings of the year, and the college football bracket. Some conversations I've been hearing on the last couple of days. Again, make sure to go follow and subscribe here at the PGH Chris TV show. We're growing every single day. Make sure to go catch me at Twitch at PGH Chris TV. Um, that's where I do a lot of my gaming stuff. Obviously, the Sports Jedi Network to go follow me and Kevin are wrestling. And there will be a lot more videos coming soon. I will see you guys soon. I do want to do something about the Steelers and Ravens. So we're going to be back soon. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Leave a subscribe, leave a follow, a like, and I'll see you guys soon.